All right, I'm going to go ahead and start. I know people are still popping into the waiting room, but want to be respectful of our time for you all and for our speakers today. So here we go. Good afternoon. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Meredith Berger, Director of Existing Industry Services at the Greensboro Chamber of Commerce. Our Economic Development Department focuses on existing industry retention and expansion, as well as business recruitment. We special welcome to our manufacturing and supply chain and logistics councils, as well as our community partners and my chamber staff members who were able to join the call today. We appreciate you being here. A special welcome to some special folks that you see on the call: Gary Graham, Will Gaddy. I like to surround myself with experts in various topics, and I am so happy to have both of you here today to talk with us and share your insight and your expertise with us today. First of all, full disclosure, I am not an expert in workforce development, but what I do is I meet with you, I listen to you, I hear you, I read articles, I read the news, and most importantly, like I said, I surround myself with a network of some of these workforce development experts who work on the ground and who are immersed in workforce development and work with you. My only words of advice to you today, which I've shared with some of you, is that I welcome and encourage you to be part of our community, be part of our chamber organization. I'm one of the lucky ones, as well as Steve and Fred and some others on the call who happen to know what you do at your company. We know your company name. We know what you make. We know where you're located, what you distribute. We know who your teams are, what your culture is. But unfortunately, not everyone in the community knows those things. So I want to offer you a team of voices and action who can help people to get to know you in the community. At the Chamber, we have 30 employees in membership, economic development, synergy, young professional, retention, leadership, entrepreneurship, Action Greensboro. These folks are super connected individuals within the community who are absolutely chomping at the bit to help let the community know who you are, that you're a great place to work, and that you're hiring. We have over 1,300 members and a team of what we call our chamber ambassadors who love nothing more than making connections and talking about our companies. So please, consider being part of the organization and letting us help you make a name for yourself and your company, letting folks know that you are here and you are making and shipping products and that you're looking for a few good people to hire. Feel free to message me or email me if you're interested in hearing more, and I'll be more than happy to help you with that. We'd love to have you join us. Couple other quick announcements. In addition to hearing from Gary, or from our experts today, Gary and Will, I'm going to share with you later after the call a list of some resources for hiring workforce development in the area. Justice served individuals, different organizations who serve different populations in the community, just to give you some more tools, because I know we all need lots of tools right now in this hiring. Another announcement, Guilford Apprenticeship Partners, which is GAP, the Youth Apprenticeship Program, which high school rising seniors and recently graduated seniors through a path of education at Guilford Tech and work-based learning at one of 35 current companies in Guilford County. We're actually doing an upcoming call on Wednesday, the 26th, to recruit companies mainly in the automotive, IT, cybersecurity, and supply chain logistics tracks. So I'll be glad to share that date again with you. Once again, another tool you might be interested in hearing about, we are doing a wage survey again from the chamber this summer. We're going to be working on that with my intern this coming month. Hope to have that out in July. That will be a wage survey on benchmarked jobs, 10 to 15 jobs in manufacturing specifically, wages associated with that, bonus structures, shift differentials, etc. So be on the lookout for that to come through. If you participate, you get to see the results. So we'd love to have you. And now, without further ado, I'd like to move on to the experts. Gary Graham is the president of Graham Personnel Services, a staffing and recruiting agency located here in Greensboro. Graham is one of the largest privately owned staffing firms in the Triad area consistently has over 800 temporary employees on assignment per week, providing temporary, temp to hire, direct hire, and payroll servicing solutions for light industrial and professional staffing needs. Gary's a graduate of NC State and was born and raised in Greensboro, and now resides at Reg Dog Farm in Summerfield with his wife Garland and his son Sully. So Gary and Jill, I will turn it over to you.
Absolutely. And first of all, I usually refer to it as Bryant Personnel Services. So fortunate to have Jill here with me. Jill's very much a trusted member of our team, and to be honest, is going to know more about some of these details and topics than I will. So I'm grateful to have her joining us. And Jill, I'm going to try, I guess you're probably clicking through, but just a quick 20 seconds background on Graham. We'll go to the next slide really fast, if that's possible.
Yeah, can everybody see the screen correctly?
Really what I'm hoping to do, and sometimes it gets me in trouble, but get to the meat of it, right, on what we're doing and what we're seeing. So a little bit on Graham there. You know, why are we qualified to talk on this topic? So a few of our pieces been around for a long time, placing 800, 900, sometimes 1,000 people a week, have a pretty large payroll. So we're speaking with a lot of folks. I think one thing that's really valuable here is we're talking to about 12,000 applicants a year. And I can tell you over the last 12 to 14 months, pay has been the #1 factor that we are talking about with applicants. Jill, let's kick on to the next one. Thank you so much. And we're not just seeing this here in Greensboro in North Carolina. We've actually got recruiters embedded throughout the country, I believe 9 different locations. And so this is a national situation. I was recently in Phoenix, Arizona, and we were facing the same challenge with a client. Broad stroke here of what we're seeing. Unemployment benefits are a disincentive to working right now for many folks. We are constantly hearing that people are just making plenty of money at home right now. We do think there's some relief coming sometime in mid-September. We will see. We're in a changing environment right now as it relates to that. But that's at least what we are believing will come down the road. To overlay there, we also have about 8.5 million new openings right now. So we have more job openings than we did in the pandemic. And so we're seeing a lot of demand for people. Unfortunately, that is really hitting the manufacturing, logistics, warehousing, supply chain sector, right? So there's even more demand there. People do, and these are very valid concerns, and I do not want to not say that they're not very valid concerns, but COVID-19 is still a major health concern. So there are a lot of folks who are very, very scared of COVID-19, and they should be, and we should be aware of that. So that, of course, is keeping people from home. Childcare is a major issue, and that might not only be for children, that might be for a loved one, it might be for a sick loved one, a parent or a spouse or a significant other in any way, shape, or form. And workers are holding out for higher wages. And most of the time they're getting them. If y'all saw me looking down at my phone, that's because I was talking to a very special attorney friend that I have here in town, texting with her, that happens to be my wife, about a placement we just made 3 weeks ago, a direct hire placement. And that placement just resigned from her law firm to take another opportunity to make more money. So that is real time, our lives since 1:43 today, Meredith. So we are seeing constant movement in the labor force. Record high job, heading towards 8.5 million. I think we covered that. And Jill, if you can hit the next one. This is a quick survey we did with our applicants. We got about 1,000 responses. We reached out to about 12,000. And Meredith, as we keep on doing this, I'll make sure, how about this? I'll get this to you and our clients first, so you can pass it on to your group at the chamber as soon as we update and push these findings out. This is just for the Triad area. So this is not a national poll. These are applicants that we're seeing. You can see pay number one, showing the work, job security, benefits. And you can see how it moves down the slide here on what people are looking for. All right, another piece of that, first shift, hugely popular. So one thing to think about as you're trying to adjust and retain folks and or attract folks is what can you do from flexibility from a shift, right? I know that's easier said than done. Shift differentials, we are seeing shift differentials count. We've got one client that's got a $3 shift differential. Jill, you might have heard of a higher number there. That's a pretty high number for a shift differential. That one was to be taken of note.
Gary, I've had a couple companies actually reach out recently about questioning shift differentials. So that must be certainly a topic to keep in mind.
Yeah, we surely do understand that some groups just aren't able to have that flexibility. And so how are they combating that? They're looking at an increased differential there. And I think they're seeing some success, although we haven't found a silver bullet. Sorry, Melissa, we haven't figured that out yet. In general, do most employers understand the difficulties for their workers and for their team members? I think they're really coming around, but we've really seen a lot of, I'll say, employers who, especially several months ago, weren't really understanding what was going on. They weren't at the tip of the spear, maybe like Will Gaddy and I see, because we're talking to so many applicants. And so we're seeing some, I think, I don't want to say waking up is probably the wrong way to say it, but a lot of employers starting to come around and saying, hey, this is the situation we're in, and how can we best combat it? So we are seeing increased unemployment benefits through no fault. The benefits are generous, and the benefits are often, and we are seeing that many of our clients, and us included, are competing with a vigorous and available unemployment benefits. We are seeing some states maybe coming around to that. You might hear that on the media: South Carolina, Tennessee, I believe Montana. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw some more stimulus between now and September. I would say probably a $16 an hour to $16.50 is a competitive rate to compete with that, with the stimulus package that's currently being deployed. All right, so then we have shortness of supply, right? Labor force participation rate in the United States is dropping, right? Back in 2000, I think 99 is when I started showing my age a little bit. You can see we had some of the largest participation in the labor force. God, I guess ever since I joined the staffing world, it's really fallen apart there as far as labor force participation. But if you look at the graph, you can see how it's dropped off kind of when COVID started, and then it really bottomed out, and then that huge gap since COVID. So these are just some quick figures, right, to take a look at annual income, one-time payments you receive as it relates to stimulus, those weekly payments. That's a yearly calculation. And so then the max amount that somebody would receive in the estimated weeks they would, so single would be about 31% of the income. Then single plus 2 children, you can see you jump to about 64% of income. Married and 4 children, you see you stay at that 64% range. So obviously the demand is greater than supply. Companies are competing against aggressive unemployment benefits. New applicant recruiting flow is not in line with current unemployment rates. I think even our federal government, BLS, is starting to question whether or not their system is working for reporting unemployment. We do expect furloughed workers to go back to their jobs, although I think there will be a massive lag. And of course, some people rightfully so, and we all should be concerned about contracting COVID and follow the protocols from the CDC. So that's what it means for you employers, for us, for all of us employers. Jill, if I am getting off here, I want you to hop in, because I know what people really want to hear is how are we combating this? I think as a general rule, if you're somewhere in the 75 to 80% range of compensation with your competitors, peers, however you might want to say it, you're on the right track for retaining and attracting talent. If you're below that 75% range, I think you're going to see continued challenges. So I would definitely suggest to talk to the C-suite and see if there's any room there, because we are seeing that 75 to 80% range of a proper pay rate is yielding sometimes 200% more applicants, and in many cases placements, as it relates to those in the lower range.
Gary, can I interject real fast?
Please do.
I also want to stress the importance of making sure your current employees are paid competitively in this market. As everyone knows, everyone's hiring, and if you're not taking care of your current employers, it's only a matter of time before somebody's reaching out to them, offering them more money, better benefits. So make sure that there's never been more need to make sure you're taking care of your current employees, because it's tough trying to replace them right now.
Yeah, and I think some of you might be seeing that, but I think the next wave of challenges we're going to have from the employment standpoint is those who are currently employed being lured, recruited, or looking for additional options. So I would definitely take care, and I know many of you do this regardless, but please, please, please take care of your existing workforce. You know, one great tip there would be conduct a stay interview. And if you're reviewing your people on an annual basis, have a 6-month, just sit down. Hey, what do we need to do to keep you here? How are you doing? Let's see, adjusting starting pay rates to become more competitive. These are the general rates that we're seeing out there. And Jill, you might be able to speak to this a little bit better than I can. Obviously, staffing partners are great options just from the volume and our screening processes. If you can't reduce your screening requirements to broaden your pool, I would suggest to do that. We are seeing more success with our clients who are eliminating the barriers to onboarding. And I'm not talking about reducing safety or proper screening. We have a client in California, for example, and they have a 1.5 day orientation. And we're losing a lot of applicants on day number 2 in the orientation. It's just too long. So take that into consideration wherever you can make adjustments. We're seeing a huge preference towards first shift and an 8-hour shift. I know that many of you probably have 12-hour shifts, maybe swing shifts. We have many clients in that situation. Statistically, we're seeing greater challenges staffing the 12-hour shifts. Anything that you can do towards transportation, I can tell you that's something we're working on for Graham right now in childcare. You know, internally here at GPS, when during the school year, we had a full-time teacher. So we hired a full-time teacher here at Graham, and our recruiters, families, children, and extended family had a resource during office hours for childcare. I think it made a huge difference for us internally, and it made a huge difference for our customers. Be as lenient as you can on attendance policies that of course match your business needs. The more you communicate about COVID, I think the better off you are. In our poll earlier, again, people are very worried about COVID. It is a real danger. and anything you can do to continue to follow the CDC guidelines, I would highly suggest. It's an employee market right now. So we have to all realize that they are in the driver's seat.
Gary, there were a couple more things I thought of while you were talking. There's not a silver bullet. It's, doing a number of things and trying to get as many people in the funnel to get started working, obviously. But many of our clients are doing sign-on bonuses and retention bonuses, as well as attendance bonuses. Also, internal referral programs. We get a lot of referrals. That's how we do quite a few placements. So make sure you're doing internal referral programs where your internal recruit team members are getting paid for people that they bring in and stay on the job.
Absolutely. And I think the more you can drive those referral bonuses, I mean, that's our number 2 way that we find applicants at Graham. So I think the more you can push that and get your people working for you and reward them. We've even seen dual-sided referral bonuses, right? Where you pay the person who's referring and the person who's coming. So don't leave any stone unturned there. All right. Try to move fast, Meredith, in case there's any questions, and don't want to hold anybody out.
Thank you, Gary. It was a great report, and we appreciate your suggestions and tips on strategies and being creative in this process. And again, for those listening, I will share Gary's presentation with you. So feel free to be looking for that in the email today or tomorrow. To share that information. So thank you again, Jill and Gary, and we appreciate it. And next we have Will Gaddy from Greensboro Staffing Consultants. Will is a native of Eastern North Carolina. In 2017, he and his wife Sierra founded Greensboro Staffing Consultants, but his passion for aligning great opportunities with even greater people existed long before that. For over 15 years, he's empowered countless professionals at various points in their careers to build job-winning resumes and the confidence to close the deal in job interviews. GSC is headquartered on Green Valley Road here in Greensboro and provides comprehensive workforce solutions and business consulting services. Will, glad to have you, and you and Kayla can take it from here.
Thank you, Meredith, and thank you everyone for inviting me to speak here. It's also an honor to be able to discuss this topic with Gary Graham, who is a leader in the industry, Graham and Associates. And I was speaking with Gary before the meeting started. I actually worked for Graham and Associates about, I think maybe 15 years ago. It was my first job working with a staffing firm. And obviously I learned a lot. And but most importantly, what I learned is what it takes to operate a staffing firm well, and the standard for providing staffing services. And so thank you, Gary, for being available also. And thank you all for having us. So I'm going to kind of echo a lot of what he said, actually, because there is no secret sauce to this problem that we're facing. And getting work done during this pandemic, it only requires a little bit of creativity. So it's going to require creativity, such as things like flexibility, of course, the pay. And Kayla, if we can go to that next slide, the pay, and because we're actually competing against, as you all very well know, unemployment and insurance benefits. And on average, someone working, on average, unemployed, someone on unemployment is making on average $15 per hour. So in North Carolina, the average recipient is receiving about $600 per week, which is equivalent to him or her working at a full-time rate, $15 per hour. And so that's one of the primary points of discussion, and what a lot of employers are having to come to realize, that to be competitive in this market, we first have to look at our pay rates. So there are two elements to consider here. We believe that in attracting workers and retaining workers, again, competing with the unemployment benefits, revising your employer brand messaging, evaluating your marketing, your job marketing strategy, and developing or revamping your second chance hiring initiative. I know a lot of companies in the manufacturing industry are having a second look, no pun intended, on their second chance initiative. There exists a huge talent pool of people who may have had mistakes in their past. And at this point in time, it is going to be crucial to consider those as viable candidates. The other part of this, the other element is retaining the workers that you currently have, and this has never been more important. We believe that professional development or upskilling can help retain those employees. Taking the time to get to know your people on a deeper level, I'm sorry, to understand what their challenges are, so that you can be able to empathize with them through the situation. Being as flexible as your business will allow, and recognizing those employees who contribute to your company's recovery and success. Excuse me. So the first point is competing with unemployment benefits. The number that we think is going to be competitive is around the same $15 to $16 per hour to attract someone that is able to do your job, but is currently on unemployment. Child care. According to the Census Household Pulse Survey, 6.3 million people were not working or had not returned back to work because
Hey, you good?
I'm sorry, what was that?
I think someone just wasn't on mute.
Oh, sorry. 6.3 million people are not working because they had to take care of their children at home. So many of the unemployment recipients cite the lack of childcare as their primary reason for not returning home. So some recommendations that we have are offering, if possible, offering maybe some childcare subsidies or the flexibility for that worker to be available for that child. You have to remember that businesses open back up at a faster pace than a lot of schools. And so so there are children who have to attend school from home now, and they have to have that parent there with them to do that. So also, one other strategy or ideas or recommendation, what have you, is maybe talking to your tax professional to learn more about the different corporate tax benefits that are available out there for you to help support your employees with their childcare expenses and managing their childcare, such as the employer provider childcare credit. So that's something you'd have to check with your accountant or a tax professional to get more information on. We can also, it's very important for us to also develop and enforce our return to work and vaccination policies. As Gary mentioned, and as we know, COVID is still a very serious, very real issue. And a lot of people on unemployment are citing just the safety of returning back to work as one of their primary reasons for not coming back to work. So communicating that, communicating whatever your strategy, whatever your plans are to keep your workers safe is going to be very important to attracting the workforce that exists in unemployment right now. So we can go to the next slide, Kayla. Okay, so revising your employer brand messaging, or if you, I'm sure a lot of you have, but being more aware of what your employer brand message is. So your employer brand is what influences your organization's reputation as an employer. We know that. But it significantly affects the volume and quality of applicants that your company attracts. And it makes a huge difference in employee productivity, job satisfaction, as well as retention. So according to the Society of Human Resource Management, your employer brand and your consumer brand are more connected than ever right now, because people really want to know how your organization is taking care of its people. And so ensuring that your employer brand, first of all, points out that it's safe to return to work here at your company is going to be important. Your customers, your employees, and especially those prospective employees want to know that it's safe to return to your facility. So tailoring that message to communicate what measures your organization is currently taking to protect its workers will go a long way in reassuring them that they're not leaving what they consider a safety zone and coming into an employer that is not concerned with their safety. So making sure that you're communicating that in your employer brand message. You also want to communicate that it's safe to transition back into the workforce at your company. So a little different. So what is about your company that is going to be that's going to replace that safety zone that they're currently in? They're making $15, $16 per hour. They are not exposed to COVID. What is it about your company? We have to communicate these things. And some of the main things to communicate is that, primarily you value your employees. You understand, you can empathize with them. You understand where we are right now and as a country. We're all experiencing this. We're all going through COVID. But you are here to help them transition back into the workforce as the country, as the world gets better control of that situation. And so making sure your employer brand communicates that is going to be important. So also any job postings that you have out there, it's going to be very beneficial to highlight your benefits and any perks that you have with working with your company. So whether it's on your website or if you post a job on Indeed or Glassdoor or whatever, make sure that you have your benefits and perks on that job posting. CCC, I say CCC means connections, connections and contributions to the community. Those connections that you have with the community will go a long way. And so we recently took on a project with one of our clients. This project would not have been successful, especially in this the current situation that we're in. It would not have been successful had we not had those connections to local organizations such as the IRC, the Guilford County Reentry Program, and other resources to kind of support our workers. Because we did work with, that client was on board with our Second Chance initiative. And it took a network of partners to make this happen. And so having that connection and showing how you contribute to the community that we're in, it's going to be important to attracting people to your organization. I'm sorry, I'm going through a whole can of water because this is speaking here with all of you is just it's a lot for me. So evaluating your job marketing strategy. So I've seen a lot of companies who need workers, but they don't have their jobs posted on the actual website. But I think that's very important to tie the two together. So when someone's looking for a job at your company, if they land on your company's website, they like to know, of course, they want to know about the job, but having that job on your website gives them lets them see the bigger picture of what they're going to be working on, who they're going to be working with, and what impact they're going to make. So any opportunity or chance that you can get to have your job postings on your actual website, I think that's very beneficial. Your recruiting technology, such as your applicant tracking system, you'd want to evaluate that to make sure when you post these jobs that they're actually being distributed to many more job boards instead of just sitting natively on your website. Um, that's going to get you that traffic, and that's going to get your job postings out in front of the right people who need to see it. So and of course, advertising any pertinent job details so that when that candidate comes across your job posting, they have all the information they need to quickly make a decision on whether or not they want to work for your job. And so if you have your employer brand message there, then it should be a no-brainer for that candidate, and they'll hopefully click apply. So next slide. So I kind of mentioned our second chance hiring initiative, which for the manufacturing industry actually has really caught on to this, and they're really utilizing this a lot more now. So, but if you're not, there exists a sizable talent pool of workers who have in the past been excluded from the workforce. Now we cannot afford to exclude these people from the workforce. I think we actually have a polling question. We may have actually had two polling questions, but I kind of shot past them. But we have a polling question. Holly, if you can load that polling question for us, please.
All right, it's up. Folks should be able to see it now. I see some votes coming in.
Okay. So the question is, does your company currently have a second chance hiring initiative? We're just curious to know from the group of people who we have, group of companies who we have on today, if you guys currently have a second chance hiring initiative in place. According to the Manufacturing Institute, 1 in 3 Americans possess a criminal record. Without being offered a second chance at a stable job, many in this sizable talent pool are excluded from the workforce. So if you don't already have a program in place to be more deliberate in including these individuals, we'd highly recommend it. By deliberate, we mean to actively recruit people who have records. And by partnering with organizations like Guilford County Reentry Program, and there are quite a few others in the county who can provide you access to people who have made mistakes in the past, but they are very, very serious and very motivated to get back to work to contribute to our community. Partnering with those organizations will help you in accessing those that talent. Not only that, but it also helps to reduce recidivism. So we know that, in the past, people who've committed crimes are released, and one of their main challenges is getting gainful employment. And not being able to get that in the past has increased recidivism. And so the impact that you're making by having a second chance hiring initiative is tremendous, and not just for your organization, but for the community as well. We in the project that we took on with this last client, we worked with some organizations that really helped us support and understand their specific needs and provide the tools that they needed in order to be successful. And the client noticed that, and they delivered for us. And so we really stand behind second chance hiring with our organization.
Holly, did you get the results from that poll?
Yes, so I don't think my co-host can see it, but so does your company have a second chance initiative program? 21% said yes, 54% said no, 21% said not yet, and then 4% said yes, but the program could use improvements. And Meredith, I'll send this to you so you can share it with everyone.
Okay, great. Great. So there's opportunity there. There's opportunity there for us to just examine those and see if it's something that fits in with your business model. So we can go on to the next slide, please. Oh, professional development. So investing in your employees. So we know that this is extremely important. The manufacturing industry, with the way that the manufacturing industry is innovating and the advances that is happening in the manufacturing industry, there are a ton of there's always an opportunity to develop your staff, right? So giving new employees the opportunity, new and existing employees the opportunities to become more valuable in the workforce in the future by investing in their skills and education now will show that your company truly values the growth of that employee. And when your employee feels that you believe in them, they're going to be more productive. And so you invest in your employees, they will also become, investing in your employees and treating your employees well also creates an additional, um, also creates additional recruiters because, they start referring other people when you have job openings, they think about who they know who would be good fits for those positions. And, it helps you to increase your workforce there. So leveraging partnerships with the local community colleges. I think I saw someone from maybe GCCC in today's call. So
You raise your hand over there. There you go. Okay.
right,
Lisa.
right. You make those connections with GCCC. They have some awesome programs out there to help, add to your employees' skill sets, and making that connection and working with them. The employees appreciate it above anyone. It shows that you truly care about them advancing with your company. And last point, making the growth path clear. So making it clear how the employee, if let's say the employee comes in in an entry level position, making it clear to that employee how they can move to the next step, how they can obtain additional skill sets, what skill sets would be beneficial for them, as they continue their employment with your company. So just making that path clear so that they can set goals and kind of see or project where they'd like their career path to go with your organization. And if possible, of course, offer flexibility. We all understand what's going on right now. We need to be very empathetic with our employees and actively listen to them for opportunities to support them. So being unusually helpful to your employees right now is going to be crucial. And so, you may hear that your employee is having transportation issues, or you notice that your employee is getting in a few minutes late. Understanding what is the root cause for that, and being prepared to help support them overcome that is going to be important. And so, possibly offering modified shifts or schedules. I know for every business, this may not be. It's probably easier said than done, but any opportunities you have to modify any shifts or schedules to offer that flexibility to your employees, we recommend that you take advantage of that and help your employees out. Good old employee recognition. We can't get away from this. It seems like at one point companies were moving away from recognition programs, but they're back and they are alive and well. And it's very important right now to make sure you are recognizing your employees because you kind of have to look at your employees as what's saving your companies right now, right? And so recognizing them, making that mission, when you bring a new employee in, making the mission and their purpose clear, and recognizing them when they contribute to you achieving that mission, your company meeting that goal, is going to be important. And so it just improves the morale of your employees, and they can see their value with your organization. Last couple of points. performance-based initiatives such as bonuses, bonuses are always very beneficial, and employee referrals, recognizing them even for employee referrals is important as well. So I think we have one more slide, maybe. Oh, no, we're done. So thank you all for inviting me, Gary and I, to speak. Now more than ever, the manufacturing industry can benefit from having a strong staffing partner that can help you meet the unprecedented demands with effective recruiting strategies. Graham and Associates, Greensboro Staffing Associates, Greensboro Staffing Consultants, rather. We're here to help your business get work done. So to connect with us, you can reach us on Green Valley Road at 717, or email, phone, LinkedIn, everything's there for you.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you both very much, and your expertise and your inspiration and your wisdom and all that good stuff. I did have a request from a close contact in our high school system to mention the importance and value of connecting with our school system, of partnering with our career academies, of hiring students, of talking to students, teachers, principals about your companies, what you do, what you make, and inspiring students to take on these great careers we have here in manufacturing and supply chain logistics. And please always keep that in mind. If you need those connections, if you'd like those connections, if you want to talk about the apprenticeship program through the high school, through GAP, glad to do that as well. I always think that's a huge thing of importance to make sure that we stay connected and aligned with our school system. So thank you for that message I got there in the chat. Wanted to let you know also, we will share the presentations, but I know that wages was an important piece of conversation from both of our speakers today. And I know that our industries are also thinking about wages as well. As I mentioned, we will be doing a wage survey for the manufacturing industry this summer, as we have done for the past 4 years. So expect to see that in June. And Fred, if you're still on, Fred Henry from Guilford Works, Fred is an excellent resource, as the Guilford Works team as well. But if you need wage information, wage and labor market data, local, regional, Fred, do you want to just talk a quick minute or two about what you can offer companies as far as that goes?
Yes, sure. So we can offer a comparison of wages. Really just want to discuss with you the key positions that you're looking at. And as Gary mentioned, we can do a bell curve, and we can look at that 10% through the 90% ratio, but also look at the entry-level experience and the average wages within a local region or statewide. So please feel free to reach out to us, and we'll be glad to assist you.
Thank you, Fred. Who else has questions or points of discussion for our presenters?
Hey, Meredith, this is Matthew Brandon over here with General Dynamics. How is everybody today?
Great. Thanks.
I'm fine.
Great, great. So thank you, Mr. Graham and Mr. Gaddy, for sharing this information with us today. So wanted to touch on a few things that you guys communicated today and talk a little bit about what we're doing at General Dynamics that's working well, right? So first, work-life balance, right? Yeah. We work a 980 schedule. People get every other Friday off. They're paid. They're off Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, right? So that flexible work schedule helps people at home. You've got parents. That gives them a full week off, plus 196 hours of PTO you get if you're between 1 and 5 years. So work-life balance works well. I think Mr. Gaddy, you touched upon that career pathing. A lot of companies will focus on career pathing at their high-paid, salaried engineering employees. You got to focus this at the ground level, and you got to focus at day one. So when our new hires come in, you come into 1-day orientation, and then you go to a different orientation where you talk with some of our engineers. Now, this is a little bit different because we're an engineering company, right? And a technical company from General Dynamics. But that whole career pathing piece needs to be up front and deliberate day one, because people want to know where they want to grow and decide where they want to stay. So yes, money brings you in the door. So we're competitive in that market. Doesn't keep you in the door always. The one thing I think that you guys did not touch on that I think we do very well at General Dynamics, and as a HR professional for 20 plus years in manufacturing, and where I've worked with companies that did this well, it really worked. And that's called total compensation, and help people understand that total compensation day one and then ongoing, right? So the best way to keep from having to hire is to keep people in the door, right? So that total compensation piece, that piece where they understand not only what they're getting paid, understanding what the employer is paying for PTO benefits and other rewards and factors that fall into that, really helps them see that piece. And then the other piece I wanted to talk about was recruiting perspective is in today's market, you've got to take advantage of social media. You've got to, and again, a lot of people, a lot of companies are using LinkedIn for these high salaried, high important jobs, and they're leaving out these employees who are on Facebook, and these employees who are at these levels that are production employees and warehouse employees, and they're on Facebook, they're on LinkedIn, they're out there, they're trying to make those connections because that's what they're being taught right now. So we've done very well with that in that piece. And then the other piece of that, I wanted to say just one last piece was to your point, I think both of your point, is really communicating, really having that communication path. We are a unionized production and workforce here with General Dynamics. And so in a union environment, sometimes it's really difficult, more difficult to do that and change than it is in a normal or a non-unionized environment. So creating those specific communication times for supervisors to really know their employees, understand what their desires are, understand what their wants are, and help them work towards those goals. And so those are some of the things that we're doing. I think we've been very successful at it. And in turn, we've had very little turnover. And I think we've had one employee and many employees celebrating their 45 and 55th anniversary with us working. So that's what kind of tenure we have there. So thank you.
Thanks, Matthew.
Yeah.
Thanks, Matthew.
Do you have your total comp? Is that built in like a pie graph? Do you have it in a simple form that people can understand, or how do y'all communicate that, if you don't mind me asking? Because you're spot on.
Yeah, so we break that down in a nice sheet for them, or just a breakdown, you can see it, right? So you might have, and it's great to do it as a new hire offer. Here's your offer. You start at this wage, and here's your total compensation. So here's your wage, here's what you're going to get in your compensation. This is what we're paying. And then at the end of that sheet, you have a total. So now your wage is not, $38,000 to $40,000 a year. And now, if you look at that total compensation, you're really making about 58.
Right. 60 grand.
Yeah.
Maybe more.
Yep.
Yeah. It's a great point.
Thank you. Anyone else have some thoughts, questions, insights, recommendations?
One quick thing, Meredith.
Yeah.
Will and Gary mentioned things about, retaining the internal workforce. So Gift for Works is working with a number of companies and with our incumbent worker grants, and that be part of that strategy to offset some of those training costs, especially when you're looking at new technologies, upskilling individuals, as Matthew mentioned, as far as career pathways. So please let us be in that discussion. And we also have things to also offset your new hire costs when we look at some of the on-the-job training.
Thanks, Brad. Last call.
How about, I'll throw one there real fast. How about Glassdoor? Who's using Glassdoor as an effective tool? That's a great resource if you're using it. Yeah. So I would challenge everybody to go visit their Glassdoor this evening and just make sure that your teams are following that resource. We're hearing that a good bit.
I've got a question from the think there's 21% responded that they do have a second chance initiative. I'm curious to know how your program's working out and what kinds of successes you've had with bringing on workers who may have a criminal history. I'll go first. So we had this project that we recently took on. It was a staffing project. We needed some workers to work. So a light industrial, I'd say, project. It was about 6 months. And when we started the project, we realized very quickly that we'd have to expand our horizons on where we got our candidates from. We were just spinning our wheels trying to get people that would come out and stay. And it's costly. You all know that hiring someone and that person leaving is costly. So we worked with the IRC in Greensboro. And we spoke with the Guilford County Reentry Program. We worked with a few other organizations to get us access to people who we may have, who had criminal records. And that client was actually on board with us doing that in order to make sure the work got done. And what we found is that, for one, we found that they were very loyal. They were very dependable. Some of the most dependable people we've ever hired, motivated, and the fact that we respected them, regardless of what their background was or whatever. I think that translated to them being very dependable, and they also ended up referring other people to the project, knowing that we needed more people for the project. They referred more people. And it just made recruiting for that project a lot less stressful, and actually, a lot less expensive, right? And so I'm just curious. That was our first time, really pushing our second chance initiative, and it was a success. So our core business has actually been IT staffing, and so this was a kind of new project for us. And so to be able to see that success or whatever, we're just pushing it. And what we've learned and what we've researched is that the manufacturing industry has a lot to benefit from doing that as well. So anytime you guys have my contact information, if you have any success with your program or any challenges with your program, please feel free to reach out. I'm very interested in learning how that's going, and to see what we can do to help push that ahead for you. So,
thank you, Will. I have a couple companies as well that employ many justice served individuals who I'm sure they're very proud of their plants, and I'm sure they'd be happy to talk with you about their successes and their hiring and workforce leading to their success. So, yes.
Meredith?
Yes.
It's Linda Wells from Matthew Specialty Vehicles.
Yes, Linda.
I'm listening a lot to the second chance initiative, and that's kind of sparked my attention. Who on the panel here can I go to get some good, I'm guessing it's the gentleman who's been speaking on it.
I'll send you some resources as well.
That would be wonderful.
Happy to. Anyone else, just let me know. I've got some companies. I've got, like you said, Will, and some other folks who work for the city of Greensboro. So we can line you up with those resources. No problem.
Thanks, Meredith.
You're so welcome. All right, folks, it's a little after 3. Thank you so much. Over 100 of you today. I know this is a big topic. Please feel free to follow up with me, Gary and Jill. Thank you so much. Will and Kayla, thank you so much for being with us today. All my community partners and colleagues as well, and all of you industries. Just let me know if you have any questions about any of this. I will share the presentation. And as always, call me if you need anything or if you have any questions or concerns. I am here.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for being with us
Thank you.
today.
Bye.
See you soon.